Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be another story time video. So today I'm going to be talking about my two experiences with fuckboys. I don't know if I can really say that on YouTube, but I did and I've heard people say it before. So my experience with fuckboys, I only have two, thank the Lord. So let's just go right into these story times. So the first one I will start off was the summer going into grade 11. Um, I was 16, this guy was 18. He was in my city for work. So he was like a construction worker or something like that. And they were staying at the local motel because they had like a week or two long project in my town. And so it's actually kind of a funny story. I put myself in that situation. So I was driving around with two of my friends, and there was this guy standing outside of the bar. And he looked young. He couldn't go into the bar because my drinking age where I'm from is 19. And like I said, he was 18 at the time. So he was standing outside the bar when his coworkers were inside having a drink. So we drove around, we saw him, we started talking about him in the car, didn't think anything of it, drove around, went back by that bar, and he was still standing there. So my friend pulled over and got out and gave him my number or my Snapchat or something like that. Gave him something of mine to communicate with me. And so later we did start talking. We were talking for like a week. Like I said, he was there for a long project. And then me and a different friend went to a motel and we stood in the parking lot. We did not go in. We stood in the parking lot and we just talked for like a half hour until we were too cold. And so me and my friend left. He went back into his room and whatever. We talked on and off for a few years, and then I actually like gave his information to my friend because he was her type at the time. So then they started talking, and then he like the only thing like I can remember about this guy was that I think it was like maybe my grade 11 Christmas, maybe my grade 12 Christmas. It was like a Christmas right after or the year after I met him, and he was like birthday sex because his birthday was on Christmas Day, and I was like, number one, like, no, I don't want to, and number two, like, I'm not gonna drive 2 hours to where you live to see you on Christmas and ditch my family on Christmas, like it just wasn't a situation that A, I wanted, or two, that I was going to do even if I wanted it. And so he kept being like, why, like there's more Christmases in your life, like why, and I'm like, no, like I'm not having sex with you, I am not driving 2 hours on Christmas Day, um like no, no. And so then like things started to fade, and then like when I moved to that city, um he figured it out. I'm assuming through Snap Maps because like your geolocation. So he figured out I was now living in his city, and so he started talking to me again. And this time he was much more mannered because I knew he had girlfriends on and off throughout the years. Because I moved there like 4 years after we met. And so I knew he had girlfriends off and on, and he was kind of with my friend at one point in time and then not. And then, so when he found out I would move to his city, he was like, hey, we should hang out sometime. And I was like, yeah, sorry, I'm actually here with my mom right now. Like, um, maybe later, like maybe next time or whatever. And I just never heard from him again. Like that was one time he asked me to hang out one time, and I was like, yeah, maybe later, and never heard anything back. So that is a quick story time about the guy who wanted me to give him birthday sex on Christmas. Which number one, no, and number two, no. And so he asked me to hang out like 3 years later, and I've never heard from him since. Very nice guy in the general sense, but I kind of got ghosted, I guess. Like, we weren't seeing each other. He asked me to hang out, and I was like, maybe later, and then I never heard from him again, so I guess that's kind of ghosting. But anyway, this next one is a lot more. It's really not. It has a different type of ending, honestly. So, and a different beginning, honestly. So I was at, we'll get into it. I gotta stop rambling. I was at a pit party in grade 12. So I was at a party, I was drinking. This random guy adds me on Snapchat and sends me a snap. And it was like, he was like, hey, my name is blank. Um, I just found you on Instagram and added you on Snapchat, whatever. Like, he explained how he found me. And I was like, oh, how did you find me on Instagram? Because he was from a different province, but he was here playing hockey for a team that was an hour away from where I lived. So there was no reason why he should have been able to find my Snapchat that easy. So he told me that on one of my pictures I had hashtagged my team's name, which is the same team name as our junior team's name. Like, all of our hockey teams in my town were all named the exact same. And he said I had hashtags, and then he found my account and then found my Snapchat in my bio, because it used to be in my bio. And then I was like, okay, well, send me a picture of you. Like, he was sending me blank screens the entire night and whatever. And I was like, what's your Instagram? Like, how? And he's like, oh, I found you on my friend's Instagram. And I was like, weird, but okay. And then, so we started talking, we snapped back and forth. And then finally I was like, hey, like, show me your face. Like, I'm not talking to some 85-year-old man. And so he showed me his face in more than one picture. So I knew he was real because I knew his name. I had searched him on his team's website, and he was a real person. And then the pictures matched up, and the name matched up on Snapchat. Like, it was him, like 100%. Like, I wasn't getting catfished, but it was 100% him. And so I ended up, like, we were talking for a really long time, but he was only interested in, like, meeting up for sex. And I'm not like that. If you're like that, like, fine and dandy, your body, your thing. I'm not like that. So I passed him off to a friend who is like that. And they did whatever. I don't know any details about them, but he stopped talking to me when he started talking to her, which completely fine with me. I went to a hockey game with her to watch him play. I drove twice, actually, because, like I said, he played for a team an hour away. So we drove twice to that town to watch him play. And the one time we had a friend, and we stayed in the Tim Hortons, and they did whatever in his car behind the building beside the Tim Hortons. And then, like, an hour later, we drove home, whatever. And then that ended, and he off and on started talking to me again. And I was on a hockey team bus road trip. And if you watched my last Storytime posted on Friday, my hockey team was from, like, I was the oldest, I was 18. The youngest was 12. One of the girls, I believe she was 13 or 14, got in a selfie with me, and we sent it to him, like, just sending people pictures, whatever. And he snapped back, and he was like, what's her name? What's her snap? What's this? What's that? And I'm like, dude, you're 21. You're not getting my friend's Snapchat or her name. Like, she's 14. And he didn't care. She didn't care. So she stole my phone, sent her info to him, and they started talking. And the things that he was saying to her, sorry, my lipstick's, like, getting in the way. The things he was saying to her were so disturbing because of the age difference and because it was illegal. And, like, he drove, or this is what she said, she was also a really big liar. So, like, I don't know any of this part to be true, but she said that during one of our practices he was waiting outside and he wanted a BJ from her. And she's like, I'm not going outside, blah, 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 blah. So I snapped him. I was like, yo, knock it off. Like, she's not interested. She's underage. You're being freaking creepy. Whatever, whatever. And moved on with life. I didn't talk to him for, like, 2 years. He was always very nice to me. Both of these stories, the boys were very nice to me. It's just their intentions weren't what my intentions were. But they were both very nice to me. I felt so bad when this next part happened. So this is not really like well, I guess it is a fuckboy story, but the guy that played hockey and lived an hour away from me was originally not from my province. And so he was back home where he lived, and he got accused of raping a girl from the town he played in. Her dad found out about this hockey boy. She said he raped her, and there was a whole court trial. He had to stay in that town an hour away from me for like 2-3 weeks while the trial was underway. Um, it was like a whole ordeal, and now his name is ruined. He was found not guilty, but so he went to court for rape 2 years after he was talking to me and my two friends. Um, so it was kind of really. Oh, I also forgot another part. There was another friend who I worked with as he was talking to me and my other friend, like the first friend. Um, so it was just kind of weird how everything like wrapped up together, and like he was talking to more than one. I should mention the first friend was also a lifeguard, so he was talking to 3 lifeguards and then my one hockey friend um, that we all knew about. So it was kind of like he wasn't careful with his tracks. I personally have never met him in person. I've never met him in person. The first guy I met in person once. Once. Second guy I've never met. So that's my experience with fuckboys, guys. I praise the Lord, did not date any of them. Praise the Lord, did not do anything with them. Like I said, I met the one guy once with my friend. The other guy I didn't meet in person at all. It was all through Snapchat and text. And yeah, so that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any fuckboy stories, leave them down below because I know they're pretty common and it's quite sad. Like, I don't like the fuckboy culture. So that is it for today's video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you don't experience any of these fuckboy situations. And I post videos every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.